because I was a high paid professional and my wife was not someone who could actually have a special IRS designation, neither of the two of us, I still kept paying like 40+% in taxes. And I just thought to myself, well, hang on a second. If there's a way for me to actually free up some of the capital that I'm paying because of my W-2 income, then I could keep that income and redeploy it in more tax efficient type of vehicles like real estate, commercial real estate, and the other types of things.
Welcome to the How to Scale Commercial Real Estate Show. Whether you are an active or passive investor, we'll teach you how to scale your real estate investing business into something big.
Billy Keels is just a regular guy from middle-class family in Columbus, Ohio, where he grew up knowing nothing about investing. Billy, welcome to the show.
Sam, thanks so much, man. Really looking forward to it. Love your energy, love what you're doing, and looking forward to the conversation.
In 90 seconds or less, can you tell me, sir, where did you start, where are you now, and how did you get there?
Yeah, you already told where I started. So originally from Columbus, Ohio, product of two parents who really worked hard, put a real focus on education. As a result, I actually saw them suffer a lot because they worked two jobs, blue collar, and they had a lot of different challenges, like paying certain bills. I saw them at the end of the month, like, are we going to pay this bill or are we going to pay the other bill? And so I grew up in that environment. By the time I was 12, we lived in like 3 different states, 8 or 9 different houses. But the focus was always on education. So, of course, I'm an A student. I really focused on the things that I was supposed to do and what I was told. So went to college, got 2 degrees. Although I did find out what rejection was because I had my dream job. I was rejected not once, but twice. I got my college degree and was ready to go there. But through that rejection, what it helped me to do is I got a job that I never, ever imagined. Rejected twice from Procter & Gamble. That opened up a door for me where I had a job, Sam, where by the time I was 26, I'd worked and traveled throughout 58 different countries, which was amazing, opened my mind to seeing different things. And what that did is kept me in a corporate career. Although I left the US, moved to Europe, I was supposed to be on a 1-year sabbatical. And that 1-year sabbatical, interestingly enough, I started in Paris, France, and that started 21 years ago. So the 1-year sabbatical actually took me from Paris down to a town in the south called Montpellier. I went from there to Italy, started up a sales team, then went back to France, and have been living in Barcelona, Spain, where I currently reside, since July of 2005. I was working as A students do. I was in a corporate role for about 26 years, and recently in December of 2021, no longer part of the corporate world, and now am focused on continuing to live the best life that I can through the challenges, through dedicating a lot of time and energy to the multinational. Now I'm focusing a lot of the time and energy on family, enjoying time with my wife, with my kids, and also getting back to the U.S. more frequently. So that's really in like probably a little bit more than 90 seconds, a little bit about this guy from Columbus, Ohio, who's now residing in Barcelona, Spain.
I love it. I think anytime someone becomes well-traveled, it does open your mind to so many possibilities in the world. You're like, oh wait, not everybody looks or acts like me. You lose a lot of the prejudices that I think we're taught, over the news and everything else. It's like, man, there's great people the world over. So
and definitely focuses you to challenge the way that you think. At this point now, Sam, I've loved it so much, and I've been challenged so many times about the way that I look at the world. I've now traveled to 86 different countries. Wow. And my next goal is to get to all 7 continents. So I just need to get down to Antarctica. I guess that's if you talk in the US and in Europe, they don't believe there's 7 continents, but that's a whole different conversation. We'll talk about that later. In 100 countries. So that's those are the next 2 geographical challenges I've put for myself.
That is really cool. You've spent a lot of time in the corporate world, and I know you said you've stepped out as of December 2021. That's really amazing. You've had your hands, though, in commercial real estate in a lot of different ways. Can you give us kind of a breakdown on some of those different ways you've been involved in commercial real estate?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So, and I guess the way that I got into real estate was because I'm an A student, I mentioned before. So I did all the things I was told. I was investing in my 401k, IRA, just maxed out the 401k, rolled into IRA and did all that kind of stuff. And 2000 happened, 2008 happened. I got hit twice. My parents always told me, Billy, look, if something happens once, shame on them. If it happens twice, shame on you. I looked to invest in real estate, and initially I read a lot of the books, the Rich Dad Poor Dads, went down those rabbit holes, and I saw a lot of videos and as well as listened to a lot of podcasts. And I thought I was going to invest here in Barcelona, Spain, but through a number of different trials and tribulations and then some pretty good luck, I ended up investing in real estate initially back in the US. In living in Barcelona, Spain. Today, I'm a big fan and big proponent of long distance investing, living in one place where you really want to live and investing where it makes the most sense for you and your capital. And so doing this long distance, I've invested not only in small multifamilies, own my own mobile home park, so very much an active investor. Made a lot of mistakes, Sam, especially like being long away and not having a network, not necessarily having all the education early on. But what I quickly found was because I was working as an executive in a software company, enterprise software company, what I quickly realized, because I wasn't surrounded by other people that talked about passive investing, I found out that I could literally invest $200,000-$300,000 with other people. They would do all the work and I could keep doing my job. And so then I found out about passive investing. I started investing in developments like Marriott and Hilton branded hotels, as well as different larger multifamily type of opportunities, the 200-300 types, as well as ATM machines, and even invested passively in energy sector. So each time looking to solve different challenges that I was having, and each one of those different vehicles is helping me and my family get closer to our ultimate destination, which is to have the personal freedom that we really want.
Do you feel like you've achieved that personal freedom that you were looking for or setting out for? Have you hit that goal yet?
I'm much further along today than I was before. What I can tell you is that I don't have any desire nor need to go back to a corporate role at this point in time. I feel like the work that I was doing for almost 10 years, because I was working in a highly demanding corporate environment in the IT software space, as well as building my business in the evenings, in the really early mornings. So that 10 years of work, almost 10 years of work, put us in a really good position, meaning me and my family today, to not really worry about going back to a corporate environment. However, there's still some things that I want to do with my family and things like that. So we're not exactly there yet, but we're pretty darn close.
Right. You're not tied to the day-to-day grind anymore, at least.
No, not at all.
That's a great place certainly to be. Tell me about this energy sector syndication. You mentioned that. I don't even know what that means. Can you tell me what in the world is that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, and you know what? One of the things, and this is one of the things that I appreciate about what you do here, Sam, in terms of the education, is it's not necessarily always about the specific asset. It's the benefits that the asset can provide you, right? And so one of the things that I was looking for, because someone who was I was a high paid, I was an accredited investor. I was a first time accredited investor. So I wasn't surrounded by a lot of other accredited investors growing up. I didn't know even what it was. It took me actually finding a bunch of groups online to go, oh, hang on a second. Like probably 6 or 7 years later, I was like, oh, I could have been investing in these very unique kind of things I didn't even know. And so what I've realized is each time I had a problem, I was looking for a solution. I got into real estate because real estate helped me get out of Wall Street. It helped me to have much more control. The business model was really pretty simple. People paid their rent. You had a bunch of expenses, the insurance, the taxes, all that kind of stuff. Gave you your net operating income. Then you paid your mortgage and you got to keep the rest. That was simple. Gave me much more control. Then I was looking for more cash flow. And that found out about, the mobile home park. I found out about passive investing, and that was happening. But I always had this issue where I was investing in lots of passive income type of assets. At the same time, because I was a high paid professional and my wife was not someone who could actually have a special IRS designation, neither of the two of us, I still kept paying like 40+% in taxes. And I just thought to myself, well, hang on a second. If there's a way for me to actually free up some of the capital that I'm paying because of my W-2 income, then I could keep that income and redeploy it in more tax efficient type of vehicles like real estate, commercial real estate, and the other types of things. So that's really where this particular vehicle in the energy space has allowed me as a high paid professional to tap into some of the W-2 income, the taxes, specifically the tax portion, and be able to keep more of that money to then redeploy it into other things.
What does it mean? You said to me, if I said to you, hey, Billy, I want to invest in the energy sector, again, where do I start? What are the nuts and bolts of it?
Yeah. So specifically one of the things that we look at is it's specifically around carbon capture. So there's equipment that is carbon capture equipment. And what that basically does, it captures carbon. It's then used in a process for energy companies to produce more oil and gas. From there, basically, we're looking at the different types of tax codes. I mean, you can get into a lot of the nuts and bolts. We actually have a guide that we can have people download and they can find out more about that. But basically what it is looking at having a working interest in a particular process from end to end as a result of that, and purchasing pieces of equipment when you put a company together, being able to leverage the bonus depreciation rules that currently exist and being able to take those losses against active income, which is something that for a lot of high wage earners who are not have a particular real estate professional designation is one of the things that would allow you to be able to tap into that income. Once again, as I mentioned to you before, to then redeploy it into other types of things. So hopefully that makes it a little bit clear in terms of what it is, what process it's involved in. And then, if you want to get into nuts and bolts, it's probably best to download the guide.
Yeah, certainly. And here at the end of the show, we'll make sure we cover where we can get that. That's really, really cool. I love that. I think that's a lot of what people are hunting for, especially high income earners and syndications in general. It's is there a way to offset, taxes such that we're not just getting hammered? I mean, 40% in taxes. That's brutal, man.
Yeah, and it was one of those things, Sam, I was thinking about this, and this is just one of the things that as you start to be in different types of rooms, you start to realize that there's a different kind of mindset. And so looking to always solve the problem, it's to your point, sometimes it's a matter of saying, hey, listen, I want to invest in more real estate, but I'm kind of tapped out. Right. So are there other vehicles that can help you to get you to the destination that you're looking for? I mean, I say it all the time. Like I live in Barcelona, Spain. If I wanted to get to my hometown of Columbus, Ohio, I've got a lot of different options, right? I know the destination, but I could actually leave here, Barcelona. I could get on a bicycle, go the bicycle to the train station. I could go from the train station to the airport, and I could go from the airport and take a nonstop. Well, I couldn't go to Columbus, but you know what I mean. Right. Could take a nonstop flight from Barcelona to Columbus. That's one option. The other option is I could get here. I could get in my car. I could drive to the airport, or instead of going to the airport, I go to the train station. From the train station, I take a train from here to Lisbon. From Lisbon, I get on a boat, and I go from Lisbon to New York City, and eventually I get to Columbus, Ohio. Right. Different vehicles that I'm comfortable with that help me get to the same destination. And so a lot of times it's a matter of being exposed. And that's one of the things I love that you do here is you're just giving more exposure to different vehicles that can actually help you get to your destination ultimately.
Tell me about the expat life. I mean, we're talking about taxes, expat life. I mean, I've got friends that live, in Puerto Rico because they have a, hey man, we live here because we think they pay like a 4% federal income tax. I mean, it's something pretty absurd. But tell me, just give us a breakdown of the expat life, especially as it pertains to. I mean, do you raise capital for your own deals as well?
I do. Yes, I do raise capital for my own deals or syndicate the entire deals together, bring them together and either directly through funds, et cetera. But one of the things, so being able to do that, this is where it's really important, Sam, and I can't reiterate this enough, to have a strong team. Like it is very important to have a team because there are things that you just don't even know. Like a lot of people would think, hey, listen, if you are living in Europe, well, some people ask me, well, do you have to pay taxes? Well, of course, you have to declare your taxes because especially if you're a U.S. citizen, you have that passport. One of the things about the Internal Revenue Service is that you have, as an American citizen, you have to declare your worldwide income. And so when you do that, you have to make sure that the team that is around you is advising you on how to be able to do those things. So, and also I should probably have said this before, not giving anybody any tax advice, not saying anything. You asked me a question. I'm just giving people an example, right? And so that's one of the things that you need to be aware of when you're outside of the United States. Make sure that you have a team around you of professionals that understands, whether it's your business attorney and your SEC attorney, your CFO, have them around you so that they can understand. But specifically as it pertains to U.S. citizens, there is the obligation to declare your taxes on worldwide income.
Right. Yeah, and that was a question. So yeah, you're paying taxes in Europe, you're paying taxes in the US, that is something certainly to consider. What's it been like raising money overseas for deals you're involved in the stateside? Involved in stateside? Why does somebody come to Billy and say, "Hey Billy, I want to invest in you to project in the US?" How do you vet the projects? How do you find them? I know you mentioned team, but give us kind of the rundown.
Yeah, sure. Love the question. So one of the things that happens, and I think a lot of people have realized this, like people talk over Zoom and people feel like Zoom has only been around for 2 years. Like it's really interesting because I've been using Zoom as a long distance investor for the last 10 years because as you start to build relationships, yes, it's great that you can start with meeting someone on, maybe you're meeting in a chat room or a Facebook group or whatever kind of group and you meet there, but eventually you want to be able to take that conversation offline, maybe using one of Google Meet or Zoom or Skype or having those kinds of conversations is great. But eventually I'm a big believer in, if you want to develop a relationship, Sam, you have to be willing to put your money where your mouth is. And so you can develop a relationship up until a certain point, but then eventually you need to get on a plane and show other people that you are interested in not only building relationships, but also making investments. And it's no different when it comes to being able to build a community, being able to gain investor trust, et cetera, et cetera. It's being available so that people can get to know who you are, being available through one-on-one chats or doing things like this so they can begin to like you. And then eventually they're going to need to trust you. I'm not making up anything new. This has all been around. And so leveraging technology has been one way to be able to do that. And then also I practice what I preach. Like I am, even just in a couple of days, I'm getting ready to fly to the US. I was doing that even when I was working in my corporate role, whether it was to go to meet business partners that were managing a property in a certain city, or I was meeting with our SEC attorney, or I was meeting with our business attorney, because you have to build the relationship and you have to be there. Our business is in the United States. So today, as I did for the previous 10 years, it's about making sure that the business is here, because one of the things that I love about real assets is they're working. And as long as the team is there, they're working for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it doesn't really literally matter where you live in the world or where you reside or where you travel. That's one of the benefits, I think, is to have that geographic freedom. As long as your team understands the benefit that you are working to provide for your investors, then they know what they're doing. They know the location where they are operating. And then they also know that specific asset that is creating the benefit that we're looking for. So hopefully that gives the answer, but it's not anything that you don't know already, or maybe you've thought, well, okay, well, yeah, you're overseas, so maybe it's a little bit different. But I feel like you need to be able to put your money where your mouth is and develop the relationship in the way that it is supposed to be developed, and give yourself as well as your potential investors the opportunity to meet face to face.
Right. And I think that's one of the things you hit on, because that's the question, I think, for a lot of people. And, obviously on this show, we've had people such as yourself that, live overseas, that do investing in the States. And I always get a different answer each time, but I haven't heard this one quite yet. But now that you mention it, even going to conferences this last spring, I'm like, hey, wait, you live in London. Hey, wait, you live in, I know where you live, but yet there are people still coming in. They're spending the time to come back and get that face-to-face time. And I think that's absolutely critical.
Yep.
When I say strategic planning and tactical execution, is that part of your plan? What does that mean to you? Can you give us some kind of thoughts behind that when I say those words?
Yeah, sure. And then a lot of that reminds me of the 26 years that I was working in a big, large enterprise software companies, right? Is you always have a strategic plan. That is the North Star. That is, where are you going? To what is the vision? What is the mission, the vision, the value that you have, right? Because that is the strategy that you need to be able to put together. That is the direction in which you're going. Then afterwards, it's the different tactics and actions that bolt them together. That is, what are you doing on a quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily, almost hourly cadence to make sure that the activities that you're driving are moving you in the direction of the strategy that you have not only talked about, but that you've claimed and proclaimed in front of the world or in front of your investors. So that when you say those words, that's what it makes me think about. And it's very similar to what we are doing today in our company. Our goal is to serve 200 accredited investors. And what we're doing are doing different strategy or tactics and actions, very similar to you and I talking today, or maybe I'm out traveling to the US like I'm going to be doing in just a couple of days, or it could be making sure that our email list, that we're continuously in contact, and that there are different actions and tactics that are supporting the overall strategy.
I love it. I love breaking that down to a granular level where it's like, hey, here's the plan and here's the actions we have to take. And is what I'm doing, that question you asked, is what I'm doing supporting my strategic plan? And if it's not, well, it's probably time to revamp what you're doing. So absolutely love it. Billy, thank you for taking the time to come on the show today and share. Certainly have enjoyed it. Love all the ways that you've shared with us on everything from energy sector syndications to investing from overseas, building teams. Man, you've done a lot, and I certainly appreciate you and the wisdom you've shared with us today. Before I forget, we did have that free download you want to talk about on the energy sector investments. Is there a good place to find that?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. You can find that at firstgencp.com/pay less tax. Once again, that's firstgencp.com/pay less tax. I should have mentioned one thing earlier, which is really important to talk about as well. That particular opportunity is for accredited investors only. So it is what we would say a 506C. So it is for accredited investors only. Happy for people to be more informed, but it is specifically for those individuals that meet the accredited investor criteria.
Right. Fantastic. And I'm assuming that's the best place to find you. And if it's not, what is the best place to get a hold of you, Billy, if our listeners want to get in touch?
Sure. Firstgencp.com is the place. That is where you can go and find out more about us. Like you said, firstgencp.com/pay less tax is the place if you want to find out more about the energy sector. And then also, Sam, I love connecting with people on LinkedIn as well. So I would recommend that you connect with me there. I think I'm the only Billy Keels in Barcelona, Spain. And if you could do me a favor and just let me know that you've already heard Sam and I having this conversation, just makes our conversation even that much easier. So, and Sam, I really appreciate the opportunity to share a bit of my story with you and your entire audience today.
Billy, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.